So we've had a very warm welcome to the homely Victoria Park. Hartlepool United against Rotherham United. Colossal incentive for both sides today, as the ball is pinged over the top of the Rotherham goal and out for the first goal kick of the afternoon. Ronnie Moore very vocal in the early phases of the game alongside John Breckin, and what a job they've done. Here's the long throw, and the goalkeeper who comes and catches is Martin Holland, a Norwegian. Chris Turner is the manager of Hartlepool United, well remembered of course in South Yorkshire as a distinguished goalkeeper with Sheffield Wednesday. Came here just over a year ago and he's transformed Hartlepool. Henderson has played it wide. It's back in, but easily covered by Scott. The wide player for Rotherham is Sedgwick, who's turned on some good displays this season and provided excellent service. And he's past Clark for starters. Looks to float one across in here. Fortune West has scored for Rotherham. What a fillip. And what a cross again from Sedgwick. And who better to be on the end of it than the top scorer? Well, we saw exactly the same combination at York City a few weeks ago with devastating effect, and that is exactly the start that Ronnie Moore and Rotherham wanted. Sedgwick made ground from the halfway line, having taken the pass from Scott. He forged his way past Clark beautifully, and the cross was delightful. Spot on for the head of Fortune West, and he heads his 17th goal of the season, and it's Hartlepool 0, Rotherham 1. Foul on Pollitt. But just to look back at that goal again, Sedgwick setting off from the halfway line, making tracks past Ian Clark, looked up, saw exactly where Fortune West was. The cross could not have been better, and a little angled header from Leo Fortune West, who's only just come back from a nasty fractured eye socket injury, and the header too good for Holland in the Hartlepool goal. 1-0. Although Lee got his head to the ball, the whistle had already sounded for a Hartlepool free kick this time. Barron and Stevenson together organising here. Stevenson's the one who's going to lob it into the Rotherham area. Wilston gets in a clear header. Protestations are all around me, but nothing forthcoming from the referee. This one might be dangerous though, and it's across the area. Oh, it could have been an own goal by Scott there. The header in was from Graham Lee, and as it dropped towards the foot of the upright, Rob Scott stuck out his right boot and deflected the ball into the side netting. Corner. Stevenson's corner swinging in. Pollitt tips it over under considerable pressure. Horrible corner kick to have to deal with that one. Well flighted by Stevenson, just dropping by the crossbar. Henderson's up there with him, and Pollitt's a big man and tips over. An awkward bounce there, but it still drops for a man in blue and white in Stevenson. Lovely ball. Clark's onside. Problems here for Rotherham. It's Clark all along the line, and he scores. Clever play from the little winger, and Ian Clark has brought parity to the match. It was delightfully nudged into space behind the Rotherham midfield by Stevenson. Clark cutting in along the byline. Everybody expecting him to pull it back, but he had the presence of mind to stroke the ball, and it's got in, maybe off Pollitt, but it's an equaliser, that's for sure. Hartlepool 1, Rotherham 1. One tripped into the last 5 minutes of the half, and a free kick for Rotherham, who would love to get back in front now. Thompson it is, and it's headed back by a Hartlepool man. Might be something here. Branston over the top. Fortune West on a dummy run, really, allowed the ball to run through there to Guy Branston, who has scored 3 times since his move to Millmore, and this time he gets it too high. Wilsterman and Fortune West are located around the 6-yard area. There's a signal from Scott. Let's see if it's been read. Hurls it in hard. We can have another one. It's like a coconut shy in here, and he's going to try and make another connection here. Rotherham looking for a hit to go back in front. Oh, they are in front, and it's that man again, Guy Branston. Oh, does he love the cameras or what, this fellow? He has a distinctive style, there is no question about that. But he's not just a centre-half, he's a goal scorer. And Scott's throw-in turned out just perfect for Guy Branston, who thrust out the boot, smashed it hard past Martin Holland. Rotherham are back in front. Thompson's header only to Stevenson, who was not fouled by Fortune West. So Rotherham storm forward again with Watson, but then he forgets to take the ball with him. And it's Hartlepool's turn to attack with Miller, who's had a quiet game. They rate him very highly here, Tommy Miller. He's been quiet today. Branston's missed his man. And Pollitt makes an excellent stop from Henderson. The ball flew over the top of Guy Branston there. Henderson was in behind him, but Pollitt has come and made himself big. And he's quite an obstacle, the goalkeeper. And the ball is out. It's smothered. The chance has gone for Hartlepool. Oof, that was a harsh challenge. That might well be a booking as well. It was Watson who was taken out. And I think this is the name of Arneson going into Mr. Pike's book. But again, Rotherham are exactly where they want to be, both in the match and in terms of territory. And they're looking for a third goal, which really would settle them down. And there's a header. Oh, it clipped the top of the crossbar from Fortune West. Good free kick from Thompson, and it looked menacing. And when Fortune West stooped into the header, it looked as though it was going well over, but in fact just clipped the top of the Hartlepool bar. Headed long, and Hurst was a little unsure because Beavers was there with him, the much taller man. Well, they do know how long there is left on the touchline, and Chris Turner said don't rush it. So here's the throw-in from Fitzpatrick, which is not a bad one, and it's volleyed over. Well, a very good opening this one for Hartlepool United. And Beavers was one man and Henderson was another. It was Henderson, the latter, who was on the end of it ultimately, but he steered it over. Maybe a good sign that for Rotherham. And there might well be some delirious scenes of celebration coming up. But Hartlepool are still alive. Beach heads away, only to Clark. Well, and then Beach's next touch doesn't take the ball very far. Oh, it was a blockbuster of a shot. But Beavers unable to beat Pollitt from distance. Hurst can't get much purchase on his header. So Henderson asks and gets the throw-in. Henderson, oh, over the top, what a chance. Corner given though. Is he? No, it's offside. It wouldn't have counted as Henderson pumped it back in there. Beavers on the end of it. Got under the shot, it flew into the fans. It looked like a good opening, but it would have been offside. And the chant is going up from the Rotherham fans. Indeed they are. Rotherham are on their way up. They will play in Division 2 next season. Rotherham United win promotion. They have beaten Hartlepool by 2-1 on their own ground. Their 11th away win of the season, good enough. And early goals in each half from Leo Fortune West and from Guy Branston have won the points, won the day, won promotion for Rotherham.
Come on! Lads, we're a bit on bridge for the game today. We need to get the point, but we've got the win. It's been a brilliant day, a brilliant night now.
Just scored a winning goal. Unbelievable.
Well, turned out well for your side from Leicester then?
Oh, it's been great, absolutely great. I mean, I come out, I was a bit worried that I made the wrong decision. But I mean, now look at it, promoted, just got to win the league next week now.
You won promotion as a player. How does this match as a manager?
Well, it's brilliant. It's nice to do, and what I'd like to do is win a championship as well. Yeah. You know, it's all right getting promotion, brilliant, but then there's a nice cup to pick up and a gold medal for our lads to win. And it's there for us. We know what we've got to do, and it'll be nice to do that.
It's a fantastic script, isn't it, pitting you against Swansea at home next week?
Yeah, I mean, it's just unbelievable how the fixtures come out. You know, at the end of the season, Swansea, Rotherham, people would have thought, but it's a hell of a game. It's a game I'd love to play in rather than watch it, because I don't know when I can go through another 90 minutes. I'm just about at my last ends now.
Well, John McGovern, Ronnie Moore, obviously a very happy man. They're great scenes. Nice to see Rotherham, one of your old clubs, back with a bang, really.
Yeah, they've had a tremendous season, and Ronnie's had 3 good years there, where after his first year they finished 9th, last year they finished 5th and missed out in the playoffs, but this year they've made certain, so it's a great job that he's done there.
You will no doubt say he inherited quite a good squad from you in the first place.
Well, there's still 1 or 2 players left from the years when Archie Gemmell and myself managed there. But Ronnie's brought in some 1 or 2 shrewd buys and 1 or 2 other shrewd signings, and they've knitted well together, and he's put together a very, very promising side. OK, they're up. Scunthorpe went up last season. They've struggled, they're coming down. Have Rotherham got the strength to survive in the second division? Well, they have if Ronnie brings in 1 or 2 more players of quality, because whenever you go into another league from promotion, you need to strengthen the squad, but you need to strengthen it with quality. And I'm sure Ronnie's done enough homework and he'll have enough targets in mind, and it'll be just a case of him sitting down with the chairman and asking how much he can do. Yeah, well, we're seeing the goals go in now from yesterday's game. One thing they can do is score goals, and they've got the big guy up front who has got a bagful this time, hasn't he? That's right. It looks as though he was getting some good service in the match, even if it was from throw-ins or from corner kicks, and the first goal was a great cross from Sedgwick out on the right wing. But he's come in, he's scored 17 goals, but he's also been aided because Sedgwick's got 6 from midfield, Garner's got 10 from midfield, and Steve Thompson's got 7 from midfield, so it's not just down to one man that they're able to score the number of goals. OK, well, it sets up this winner-takes-all title decider against Swansea next week. Will actually, despite what Ronnie Moore said there in the interview, will winning the title be all that important to them, do you think? Yeah, most certainly, especially in front of their own fans. I mean, they've gone a long way towards it by winning at Hartlepool, which isn't the most hospitable place to go when you're looking for points to secure promotion. But having done that, no, it'll be of vital importance that they do actually win in front of their own supporters, because then the satisfaction's just magnified unbelievably. OK, thanks very much, John. We will see, of course, that next week. OK, well, we'll take a break now. Still to come in part 2, the rest of the action.
Penalty. Who says there's nothing to play for in some games? A new contract or a point bonus, perhaps? It was an end-to-end contest with plenty of chances. Got it any better? They face Swansea next week in the final game to decide the championship. All our other sides will finish in the...
side who needed just a point to take the title. Steve Banyard describes a highly charged afternoon.
Boyd battling well, gets it back off Coates, skips past Darren Garner, and Boyd with his head down. This is a brilliant run from Boyd. He's dancing around everybody. Walter Boyd, 7 goals this season. Swansea and Rotherham promoted last weekend, of course. Millers with their 2-1 success at Hartlepool. This is Paul Warne, and a flying save by Freestone. Paul Warne extending the Swansea keeper. Ronnie Moore, who was the Millers' top scorer with 23 goals when they won the Division 3 title in 1981. Watson. Now through for Warne, he's onside, and Garner! Saved by Freestone once again. He's been called into the action a couple of times as Freestone, and he's been equal to both of them. Back by Thomas. O'Leary underneath it, clattered by Branston. And then the ball kicked up by Garner. O'Leary's furious at that. And a nasty exchange between Garner and O'Leary. O'Leary unhappy with Garner's clearance, which smacked into his face. Then eyeball to eyeball. Almost a headbutt. And a yellow card for Darren Garner. And it would seem a yellow card for O'Leary as well. John Hollins took charge in July '98. This is Bird. Branston's challenge. And a free kick's awarded. Branston certainly got the ball, but he just left his leg there that little bit too long. And a dangerous situation here. And Pollitt with the save. He's conceded the corner. Fully stretched though Mike Pollitt. Scrambling across his line. Good play by Boyd. He's wriggled away from Beach. Garner's caught him. And that's going to be a second yellow. Darren Garner is going to be sent off here. Right at the end of the final match of the season. Branston appeals. But there was no question that Garner caught him from behind. Price. Suddenly surrounded by three Rotherham players. He's wriggled away from all of them. And he goes down. Penalty! Price has won a penalty for Swansea with just a couple of minutes remaining. And up steps Bound! Swansea surely are champions now! Wild scenes of celebration. The Swansea fans pile onto the pitch. While the Rotherham fans having to be contained at the Tivoli end. Utter mayhem here at Millmore. Glover again, goes down, it's another penalty! Incredible! Would you believe it? Well, this is turning quite nasty because the Rotherham fans themselves now are out of control and on the pitch. Rotherham have a penalty, but they can't take it. There are too many supporters on the pitch. Referee Rob Stiles is calling the players over, and in fact they're going off. Well, there's hardly any time left. Well, after what has been a lengthy delay, in total we've had about 10 minutes of stoppages, but Glover himself, who was brought down, can equalise for Rotherham. Squeezes it under Freestone, and it's 1-1 between the top two teams in Division 3. Hardly any time left now, surely. And that's it! That's the full-time whistle! Swansea City are the champions of Division 3. Swansea back in Division 2 for the first time since 1996. Rotherham themselves back for the first time since 1997. And Swansea are the champions. Both sides defeated in the playoffs last season without reaching Wembley, but both promoted in Millennium Year.
Swansea celebrating the championship, and their manager John Hollins was to be joining us to talk about that win, but the edge on the celebration somewhat taken off by the news that last night a 41-year-old Swansea fan died after violent scenes outside Millmoor. Our commiserations, as those of Swansea City, we're sure, go to the family of that fan. We have to carry on, but I wondered, Bobby Gould, why we're still discussing incidents like that in this day and age. I thought they were all behind us.
Matt, I was in Turkey with the Leeds United side in Istanbul, and was over involved in the incidents there, and to think that that now is transpired in our country is very, very, very sad. Everybody's exuberant, everybody loves football, it's the forefront of everything at the moment, but we sometimes need self-control, and people need to take that responsibilities. Where does it start? You know, we witnessed there a penalty. We witnessed the people coming over the walls onto the pitch, both ends. John Hollins very irate at the situation. You know, managers can only do so much, and rightly so, the referee took them off. And, you know, after that we witnessed that the penalty was taken for Rotherham, the fans didn't come back onto the pitch again. And somewhere along the line, common sense has to prevail, Matt. You can go on air and say, look, can we please put this under control? But it's down to the loyal supporters who've followed those clubs throughout the season, fantastic seasons, but does it need the death of an individual? That is the question that I ask. As somebody who loves football passionately and has had a magnificent living from it, what do we have to do to the supporter to say, look, please enjoy it, but without these problems?
We saw John trying to calm people down there. He's close to those fans. They have a lot to be grateful to him for. He's done a terrific job there.
Yeah, the Swansea Jacks, as they're known down in South Wales, you know, that they had that wonderful period under John Toshak, and Welsh football with Cardiff being relegated early on this week, and then the Swansea Jacks getting the opportunity to go back into another division. Yes, it's keenly contested down in South Wales, but John Hollins went down there when he wasn't given an opportunity after Chelsea, you know, and he's been rewarded by loyal supporters, by loyal players, and he's enjoyed that, and it's fantastic. John Hollins is one of the football's chirpy characters. I played against him, you know, the way he played his football, that's the way Swansea are playing their football at the moment, and I think Mark Hughes will be pleased, because some of the lads that are coming through are very talented Welsh players as well.
Well done, John, and to the Swans. We'll cast our eye over what was a fascinating day at the foot of the third shortly, but here's how things finished up behind the top two. Jim Proudfoot and Mick Conway report.
What have they had to say so far?
They haven't had a lot to say so far, but they have confirmed that this man died as he was trampled by a police horse, or at least he died in hospital after sustaining injuries. We know that those injuries included severe internal injuries and injuries that would go along with a crushing incident. Other than that, we're waiting for more details here from the police station in a short time.
And presumably this simply happened while police were trying to control the violence between the Rotherham and Swansea fans.
Indeed they were. There was a hail of stones and bricks at Millmoor Lane as rival supporters clashed. We understand from Swansea fans we spoke to earlier that they were trying to get away from the scene when 41-year-old Terry Coles was noticed on the ground. At this stage, other fans were screaming for paramedics to reach him, and we understand it was at this stage that mounted police made their way in. At this stage, though, it would seem that his death is as a result of a tragic accident rather than anything in connection directly with the violent clashes.
And we've seen some of the people you've spoken to on the report just now, and obviously you've been talking to people there, Hazel. I mean, on a scale of football violence, which we're becoming accustomed to, how bad was the violence before this game?
It was pretty horrific, all football violence is. We spoke to one Rotherham fan who said he brought his 6-year-old son to the match for the first time yesterday. He's not going to do that again in a hurry. And obviously some fans are looking ahead to Euro 2000 and asking themselves just what's going to happen there, what sort of scenes can be expected there. Whilst this death can't be attributed directly to the violent clashes yesterday, obviously it has raised concerns.
Hazel, thank you very much indeed for the moment. Hazel Westwood there outside Rotherham Police Station. Obviously we'll bring you whatever information we get from the police when they hold their press conference, which we expect to be shortly. Swansea City's general manager actually is Mike Lewis. He joined us now from outside the ground. Mr. Lewis, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you.
Appalling tragedy and something which...
By a police horse as they tried to control violence between rival groups before yesterday's game at Rotherham United. Terry Coles was 41 and came from Swansea. A spokesman said that Mr Coles fell, hitting his head on the ground. Police believe he was then trampled by the horse as he lay on the ground. It's understood a post-mortem examination has shown that he died from internal injuries. The chief executive of Rotherham, Phil Henson, said the day should have been a celebration, but instead had turned to tragedy.
Well, obviously, sympathies go out to the family. And it's, as the Swansea supporters were obviously jubilant with them winning the championship, but it pales into insignificance when somebody loses their life.
This is BBC News 24. Still to come, Aaron Mullally.
Placed Rotherham. Swansea, they went in front, and they did it 2 minutes before the end of the game through a penalty from Matthew Bown. That was a pitch invasion that happened in the 90th minute that came after that, but as soon as that was out of the way, Rotherham rewarded the penalty themselves and Lee Glover equalised. Dropping out of the league after 69 years are Chester. Their 1-0 defeat at home against Peterborough saw them relegated to the Nationwide Conference. A draw would have kept them up. 2 other relegation threatened.
Were there any police officers from South Wales in Rotherham?
There were 4 police officers from South Wales.
Well, we will leave that there. That is the news conference held by the South Yorkshire Police in the last few minutes, and talking there obviously an inquiry into exactly what happened and how one man, a 41-year-old man, was trampled apparently by a police horse. We'll bring you more on that, of course, as soon as we get in. Now, in other news, police are using half-eaten...
Sky News Today with Alan King.
Good afternoon. It's been confirmed that a Swansea City fan who died following violent clashes between supporters had been trampled by a police horse. Terry Coles, who was 41 and from Swansea, was injured outside the Rotherham United ground yesterday and died during emergency surgery in hospital. Violence broke out before the kick-off, with rival supporters throwing bricks and stones at each other. 20 fans were arrested.
In Rotherham and Swansea, they are mourning the death of Terry Coles. Fans have laid tribute to the 41-year-old Swansea supporter at both grounds. Mr Coles died as violence broke out before the 3rd Division Championship clash yesterday.
When the police were on the horses, we were screaming at the police, look, there's a boy injured. Stop them throwing stones. They were throwing stones, literally. You know, we were walking down, they were throwing stones at us. And we was actually, you know, we're football supporters. That's all, you know, we are football supporters. But they were actually throwing stones, and the boy was laying there. There was no cover over him, you know what I mean? The only cover he had was from the supporters trying to shield him away from the barrage of bricks that was coming towards him.
Violence marred the whole afternoon, and police have admitted that Terry Coles died as police horses tried to quell the trouble. He was fatally injured as he got trampled by one of the animals before the game.
It would appear, from what we see on the security video, that the police horse was cantering, that he stepped in front of the horse, unaware that the horse was there, collided with the horse, and the horse then cantered over him.
This weekend was to have been a celebration of Swansea's footballing success. Instead, football has been submerged in tragedy.
We didn't get the news till we were coming back with the team last night, and it really took the wind out of our sails, and today has been a pretty desperate day at the club. People bringing flowers, pinning them to the gates. Not only that, the celebrations we had planned for last night to celebrate the championship really were very muted, and people left very early.
A civic reception for the team in Swansea and a youth game today have both been cancelled as a mark of respect. David Bowden, Sky News.
And we'll be talking to the Assistant Chief Constable of South Yorkshire Police, Tim Hollins.
Clashes between supporters yesterday is thought to have been trampled by a police horse. The 41-year-old man was fatally injured after trouble broke out before Rotherham United's game against Swansea City. Police say they're investigating and are appealing for witnesses.
Mr Coles, a Swansea fan, was injured at this spot outside Rotherham United's ground. He was caught up in fighting between Rotherham and Swansea City fans before the match started. It's thought he fell and was trampled by a police horse during the melee. He was taken to Rotherham's General Hospital, where he died later from serious internal and head injuries. Executives from Rotherham United Football Club met this morning and later spoke of their sense of grief.
The sympathies go out to the family, and it's, as the Swansea supporters were obviously jubilant with them winning the championship, but it pales into insignificance when somebody loses their life.
Right from the start there was trouble, and the match itself was marred by 2 pitch invasions. It should have been a day of celebration, with both sides already promoted to the 2nd Division. Instead, it ended with the loss of a football fan's life. Francesca Castellitz, BBC News.
The newly elected Mayor of London, Ken Livingstone, has outlined why he wants to give positions in his new administration to members.
Got to kick the thugs, as you call them, out of football. They attach themselves to football clubs all over the country, all over the world, and somehow the genuine fans have got to try and kick them out, root them out. It's got to be stopped sooner or later.
We hope you succeed in that. Hugo Valerio of Swansea City Supporters Club, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.
This is Sky News, the headline. South Yorkshire Police have admitted that a Swansea City fan died after being trampled by a police horse. 41-year-old Terry Coles was caught in the violence that broke out between rival supporters at the Rotherham match yesterday. Russia officially has a new president, Vladimir
Putin. Died after being crushed by a police horse as trouble flared before the start of his side's 3rd Division title decider against Rotherham at Millmoor. Well, the game, our feature match this evening, was also delayed by a couple of pitch invasions after 2 late and controversial penalty decisions. Well, joining me in the studio to discuss yesterday's events and all the issues and talking points as the Nationwide League comes to its climax is the Rotherham manager, Ronnie Moore. And also coming up, the climax of the 1st Division playoff race. Stuttering Huddersfield could clinch their place with victory at Fulham. Earlier this afternoon, we'll bring you all the action that matters in part 2. But now let's return to Millmoor. Rotherham are in the red and white against Swansea in the white. Both sides already promoted. A win would give the Millers the 3rd Division title. Let's join John Helm.
It's party time at Millmoor, and so unusual to hear both sets of fans chanting, "We're going up, we're going up." Indeed, they both are. But who will be the champions? That is the incentive for Rotherham and Swansea today. But wonderful campaigns for John Hollins and Ronnie Moore to savour. Swansea trying to get their Jamaican international Walter Boyd in there, up against Brian Wilstermann. Here is Coates now. Coates finding space and hitting a shot in. It's going to go wide. But early encouragement for Swansea and for Jonathan Coates. Turning inside his marker Thompson there. He had a clear sight on goal. But Jonathan Coates well wide of the mark. So Pollock nominated as the best goalkeeper in the division by his PFA colleagues. Missed by Sedgwick. Well, there's been a scenario in recent matches of Sedgwick crosses and Fortune West goals from headers as a rule. Let's see if we can have something similar today. This is Watson, the captain, in his first season at the club as well. Chance maybe inside that area with both Warne and Fortune West there. It was coming in towards Paul Hurst and stabbed out for the first corner. Well, it's a capacity crowd here today, and they enjoyed the sight of Warne and Fortune West in there. Hurst just couldn't get in. Paul Warne a little short on goals at the moment. He's not scored in the last 10 matches. Now would be a very handy time. Thompson with the corner gives a signal over to that far side. Wilstermann up, so is Warne, and it's gone into the side netting, and it looked as though it was going to be a goal kick. In fact, a corner's been given, but it's Thompson's high ball. Wilstermann making his presence felt. Awkward angle for Warne. The wide man is Coates. Well, Swansea just haven't got going as an attacking unit at all yet, and here's Beach now for Rotherham, able to ping that ball forward, and oh, a lovely little bit of interplay. It's Paul Warne, and a thrilling stop by Roger Freeston, who almost spills the ball then. But that's why Fortune West and Warne are such a lethal attacking combination. Good telepathy between the two, and the final shot, a quickly taken one, and a handy stop from Freestone. Well, Ronnie Moore contemplating life in a higher league. He achieved that as a player here. but it means so much more to him as manager. As Rotherham still look for this opening break. Watson, neat little ball in here. Chance for Paul Warne to pull it across. Garner scuffs the shot, didn't get hold of it. An easy save in the end for the 31-year-old Freestone. But good build-up play from Rotherham again, and Watson is very influential in these early stages. Warne, presence of mind to pull the ball back, but Garner doesn't get any purchase on his hit. Quick throw taken and a pretty useful cross as well, but it was a difficult height and an awkward angle for Fortune West. 17 goals already. But never looked like making it 18. Warne did well to contrive the cross, but it was a very awkward angle. John Hollins on the left of the picture there. Taken Swansea into a higher division. He took over from Jan Molby as the manager. Jan Molby, of course, about to be promoted into the league with Kidderminster. Here comes Swansea. Maybe a chance as the ball bobbles around in the area. Put out by Wilstermann. And Swansea will have a corner kick. A minute showing. Referee John Kirby there, the fourth official, who, by the way, has his last game tomorrow. Bolton Wanderers against Norwich City before retirement. Well, Swansea haven't created much in this half. Wilstermann makes sure they have nothing. And in fact, no time is going to be added. So half-time here at Millmoor, all square. Rotherham 0, Swansea 0.
Price going for the longer throw, but Branston twists his head onto it, does okay. Now Bird through, Thomas in an attacking position, Boyd across the middle. The cutback should really have been Pollitt's ball, but Wilstermann makes, I would suggest, his first mistake of the afternoon. Probably never heard Pollitt in the noise. Took it out of the goalkeeper's hands, and it's a corner kick. Here is the ball in from Thomas. Now Pollitt should have called, maybe he did. Wilstermann made sure he never got it. So Swansea have an unexpected corner kick. Now Boyd is on the edge of the 6-yard area. Bird is inside it. 3 other Swansea players in there, but they're not over-ambitious on this. It's headed back into the danger zone though, and cracked away by Fortune West. Ball squirting around all over the place at the moment. And a Swansea free kick too now, as O'Leary gets involved in a stupid dispute there. That was really idiotic of O'Leary to get involved like that. The free kick had been given and he still carried on his protest. Referee Stiles proffers the yellow card. Well, the question is, are both going to be shown it? Yes, Garner certainly gets his name taken. And O'Leary is certain to do. Well, still no sign of any substitutes being called on. And the ball through. Thomas is onside. He can put Swansea in front here. Pollitt denies him the pleasure. Martin Thomas stays with his head down. He broke the offside trap, the arms had been raised, the ball does bounce around disconcertingly, but he should have been able to lift it over the top of Pollitt, big man though he is. Jones smashes it cross field, Wilstermann with his eye on the ball, only gets it as far as Coates, and Swansea have 4 up here. Terrific try from Jonathan Coates, they're much appreciated by the travelling Swans fans. Coates, who was a scorer last week against Exeter, his first goal for a couple of months. That's a flashing drive. Highlight of the game so far. Rotherham really have created fewer chances today than in any match I've seen them this season. Walter Boyd excitingly tries to break through, and he's got on and has surely got a free kick. And it might just be a yellow card as well here for Darren Garner. And Darren Garner is off. It's his second yellow. And right at the end of this campaign, Darren Garner walks to the dressing room earlier than anybody else. Red card, and well, Beach initially and then Garner. Now, does Garner then come across him a second time? Yes, he does. And that's a red for Darren Garner. Thomas sideways. Price. Well, they didn't even attempt to get a goal. When Branston's gone in on the back of Price, although Price has gone all the way along there into the penalty area, and the ref's given the spot kick. Bound it is, and Swansea are on their way up, surely with the title. It's Rotherham 0, Swansea 1. Thousands swarm onto the pitch, all I would suggest from Wales, and we didn't need this. The referee, well, he's just lost in there. Whether order can be restored, we shall see, but there are police on the pitch, there are Alsatian dogs on the pitch. There was an appeal for spectators not to come onto the field of play at the end of the game. They're on already and the match is not over. But one thing is for certain, for me anyway, Swansea are the champions of Division 3. The final flourish of the season comes from the left boot of Matthew Bound, who flashes the shot high past Mike Pollitt. And Rotherham look a beaten side. Well, after a delay of 7 or 8 minutes, I would suggest, the game is underway again. Warne, Turner. Now he does whip a ball across for Glover to turn on it. Picked up edge of the area, Watson steadies himself, chips it in here, might be a chance for Warne. He's blocked, Glover gets in a shot, that's blocked too. Glover turns, he goes down, and I think the referee's given Rotherham a penalty now. Well, utter mayhem at Millmoor, and the fans are on the pitch again. It might never end today. Glover here had been thwarted in one attempt, and then Jones goes across to meet him. Down goes Glover. The referee for the second time in minutes points to the penalty spot. Ronnie Moore is out there appealing. He's standing by the penalty spot, the Rotherham manager, appealing to those fans to simply go back, retreat behind the net, and eventually the match will end. I think Lee Glover's going to be the one who will eventually take this penalty. He's not got a goal this season, which may turn out to be his last as a Rotherham player. And the referee is now taking the two teams off. Well, now this is something I've not seen. You would have thought the match had to finish, but the referee is taking the two teams off the pitch. So eventually order has been restored. Every spectator is now off the pitch, and Lee Glover has the chance of equalising for Rotherham with 3 minutes to go. He scores in off Freestone's right hand, and Rotherham's championship dream is still alive, and it restores parity here. A little shimmy, he comes up and drives it hard and low and in off Freestone's right hand into the corner of the net. You're a pretty cool customer, but that must have really stretched all the emotions for you.
Oh yeah, it did. You know, it was very nerve-wracking for us all.
Disappointing at the end of the day not to be champions though.
Yeah, very disappointed, but the fans have done well all season.
And you got a medal.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, Ronnie, Swansea take the third division title. First of all, we've got to talk about the tragedy, the fan who sadly died before the game. And I suppose it overshadows everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, without doubt. You know, we do nothing about it. Apparently it happened at 1 o'clock. Apparently now it's come out because people were talking about stones have been thrown and bottles have been thrown at their supporters. But it comes out that unfortunately a horse, apparently a police horse, had squashed him and crushed him to death. Which, you know, it just sad day for everybody, especially for Swansea. They've got that civic reception now that they've cancelled, you know, in respect of obviously with the boy dying.
Now there was obviously a problem, as we say, there were bottles and bricks apparently thrown before the game. Are you worried that hooliganism seems to be rearing its head again?
No, not really. I don't think it's as bad. I mean, obviously what happened yesterday was a tragedy and was terrible and shouldn't happen again. But we had enough police around the place, you know, you would have thought they would have been able to cope with it. But no, I don't think it's as bad as people think. I mean, obviously you're going to get 20 or 30 people at a game, and I think possibly that's what it was. You know, there's 11,000 people at the game, and you get 20 idiots who have come there for a fight, to throw things. I mean, they're not true supporters then.
Well, obviously that takes a bit of the gloss off your season, the end of the game. Did also losing the title take a bit of gloss off as well?
Yeah, because I think it's great for myself, it's great for the club, and it's great for the players. You know, there's a nice gold medal for them to keep forever. And when you see Swansea picking up that trophy, it hurt a little bit. And it would have been nice to have got it as a player and also to get it as a manager. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. But it was going to be a day, you know, where nobody lost out. Both of us have been promoted. But it was just that little sadness afterwards. I mean, our dressing room was a bit quiet. I had to go in and try and liven up one or two people. Because basically, if someone said at the start of the season, you're going to finish runners-up, you don't have to start and play any games, we'd have taken that. Party
time, of course, as the game started, and there was a great atmosphere, wasn't there? But it all turned just a little bit sour over the 2 penalties. Was there a feeling that perhaps the referee should have just said, well, let's get the game over? Nothing was actually going to matter at that stage, was it?
I think so. I think it was going nowhere, the game. It looked like it was going to finish 0-0, and then for some reason, you know, he's given a penalty for them, and really it started all the trouble. And then he gives us one down the other end. I mean, Lee Glover, I mean, he's an acting role for him. But unfortunately, the referee's seen it that way, that he balanced it out for us. But had he not given the first penalty at such a crucial time?
But he's got to referee the game as he sees it, hasn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, when they are a blatant trip, then I can say, yeah, you know, it is a penalty. But so much on it, and for something like that, I think he made a right mistake and caused all problems.
A little bit of controversy about a second sending off. Not many people realise you actually finished with 9 men. Brian Wilstermann was sent off, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, I mean, I knew nothing about it. I mean, I'd missed it. You know, I didn't see him get sent off. Apparently he pushed the referee, but with everything going on, I didn't know about it. John Brecker didn't know about it, and you know, it was only when the ball was knocked over the top and I thought, well, where's Brian? That Alan Neil actually told me that he'd been sent off and we were down to 9 men. I mean, that's how daft it was on the day.
Okay, well, let's look to the future. New contract for you, 3-year contract. It's looking good for next year now.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I'm glad the contract thing's been sorted out because it's gone on and on and on. You know, people have been linking me with this club and that club, which was nice. But I've always wanted to be at Rotherham. And hopefully now we can go into that second division and go on.
OK, well, we'll talk about that after the break as well. But we will take a break now. Still to come in part 2. Well, it all came down to one simple fact. If just...
Equally, none has had a season to remember. Rotherham have, of course, and they'll be joined in the second division by Swansea and Northampton, who clinched their elevation with victory at Torquay.
Well, Ronnie, out of all the clubs from our region down in the lower half of the third division, who do you see emulating what you've done this season?
Well, there's a couple really. I think York will have a good chance. I think Terry will go in there. I mean, he's settling down now. He knows what players he's going to bring in. They're a big, strong side now and hard to beat. I think Brian Little, if he can get Hull City going. I mean,
sleeping giants, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, if he can just get it right, there's 10, 12,000 supporters there every week. So hopefully, you know, them two may be able to do it.
And what about your season next season? Because people do say there's a very big gulf between the third and the second division. As we've seen, Chesterfield and Scunthorpe both come down.
Well, there is, John. I mean, I went and watched Stoke City against Bury on Wednesday. I mean, I was sorry I went in the end because it frightened the life out of me. The gulf between Stoke City and ourselves is massive, and similar with Bury. So we know it's going to be hard. Hopefully we can stay in that division. It'd be nice to go and win it, but you know, we've got to be realistic and say, let's get up there and let's stay in that division.
You're going to have to buy.
I think so. I think if it's not buy, definitely on the bottom, we're going to have to bring players in.
But have you got any money?
Well, we haven't got a pot of gold. I mean, the chairman, there will be money there available if I need to, and probably you're not talking about 100,000s, you're talking about, you know, a few coppers that are there. Yeah. So we have to do it in the Bosman, and hopefully we can do it that way. OK, well, wish you all the best. Thanks very much for coming in, Ronnie. OK, let's finally just check on this afternoon's Premiership result. It was an important one for Leeds.
Fan who died during violent clashes at yesterday's match against Rotherham was crushed to death by a police horse. 41-year-old Terry Coles suffered a fractured skull. Chris Kiddy reports.
Flowers mark the spot outside Rotherham's Millmoor ground where Terry Coles died. He was crushed as rival fans threw bricks and stones at each other on their way to the game to decide the third division championship. Police had to use dogs and mounted officers to restore order.
Tragically, what appears to have occurred is that the gentleman who died didn't realise the horse was coming down a slight slope and walked into the line of the horse and was clearly trampled by the horse.
The game itself was marred by 2 pitch invasions. 19 arrests were made. The referee had to lead the players off at one point. The game ended in a 1-1 draw. People living nearby saw the clashes before the kick-off.
There were just gangs coming up the street. There were up in pub. There was one policeman had a glass of beer thrown on his head. There were horses all over. They were just crazy.
But Swansea fans today said they'd been asking for help.
We were actually calling for the police to stop the barrage of bricks that was coming over towards them and towards us.
Tributes were also paid to Terry Coles in Wales. Fans laid flowers inside Swansea's Vetchfield ground. A civic reception to mark the team's success was cancelled. Chris Kiddie, ITN, Rotherham.
Britain and the United States are urging their foreign nationals to leave.
It was, after all, a game between 2 football clubs who'd already won promotion. But this weekend's match between Rotherham and Swansea ended in the tragic death of father of 2 Terry Coles, trampled by a police horse after violence which broke out before the game. He was a lifelong Swansea fan, supporting the game that he loved.
South Yorkshire Police were responsible for policing the match at Rotherham's Millmoor ground. An inquiry by neighbouring West Yorkshire Police will examine the circumstances surrounding Mr Cole's death. And tonight, the town's MP called for new laws to force matches where trouble could be predicted to be played at neutral grounds. Katie Oscroft reports.
Tributes today to a father of 2 who died when violence broke out outside Rotherham United's ground. Terry Coles was trampled by a police horse. It's thought he stepped into its path.
It's supposed to be a party day for everybody. I mean, there were families, children, everything. And it's just not worth someone's life at the end of the day.
That party atmosphere was marred in the game's final moments as rival fans, both celebrating promotion to Division 2, invaded the pitch. As mounted police patrolled, most people were unaware that a Swansea fan had already died. Opposite the ground, though, this cafe owner saw the violence that broke out before the game.
They were fighting in the road. The police were trying to stop them, of course, and at one point we had to put the shutters down. It was just really frightening. I've been here 7 years and I've never, ever seen anything remotely like that.
This area on match day was a flashpoint. Scores of Rotherham fans were outside this pub, and many who witnessed the trouble are questioning why, in such a highly charged atmosphere, Swansea supporters were brought past them down this narrow lane to get into the ground. In Swansea today, the football ground is open house, a civic reception cancelled, but amid the grief, recriminations. One fan who saw the incident has criticised the police.
One of them whacked me on the back with a stick. For nothing, only for talking to him, and then he chucked us in the ground then, and that was it basically, and then I heard the next day that he was killed.
What do you make of the police's behaviour?
Oh, it was really out of order.
We knew the police were going to be out in force, and I think the police did a remarkable job. I thought the job they'd done on Saturday controlling Swansea supporters on their own was magnificent.
In the Commons, meanwhile, Rotherham's MP called for new laws.
Might she look at setting up an independent commission so that these tense matches, where trouble is expected, can frankly be moved away to a neutral venue?
Last match of the season.
Policing football matches has been brought into the spotlight with this incident. Here, West Yorkshire Police prepare for tonight's game at Elland Road. Their job, now more than ever, the subject of public debate.
Katie Oscroft reporting there. Let's cross now to South Yorkshire's Assistant Chief Constable Douglas Brand, who's in our Sheffield studio. Thanks very much for joining us. I know that hindsight is always the perfect policeman, but was this in some senses a tragedy that could have been anticipated?
Well, it's difficult to determine actually how, and our investigation will no doubt reveal what could have been done. We always debrief all of our operations, whether they appear to go right or wrong, and this one will be no exception, except for the fact that we've got an external investigation being supervised by the Police Complaints Authority because of its tragic circumstances.
Yes, some people have said fine day, 2 sets of fans all ready to celebrate and hoping to win the championship. Why not bring the kick-off forward? Was that considered to noon so that drink didn't play any part at all?
Well, I don't know whether that was one of the considerations, and of course changing times of matches at short notice often creates as many difficulties as it does seeking to alleviate some of the things that you anticipate. There is no doubt about it that if you have that fine combination of good weather in May, alcohol, people arriving early, the indications early on in the day were that some people were clearly not there solely to enjoy the football match.
But you had a high level of policing there. Are you as shocked as anybody by what happened?
We all are. I mean, frankly, this is a tragedy that we couldn't have wished on anybody. And I know tears were shed in our own places, because it's just one of those sorts of incidents that you just you fear. You try and plan out, you think about with your deployments, you put your best officers, as we did on this occasion, the best commanders, and still it doesn't go quite right.
We have to leave it there. Assistant Chief Constable, thank you very much.
Tonight's other main news now, and hospital staff are predicting yet another bed shortage.
Inquiry is underway into the death of a football fan who died after being trampled by a police horse. Terry Coles, a Swansea fan, was fatally injured when trouble flared before Saturday's match between Rotherham United and Swansea at Millmoor. The police have defended their security arrangements for the game and say the incident appears to have been a tragic accident. Here's our South Yorkshire reporter, Tom Ingle.
Messages of sympathy are made more poignant by their simplicity. The growing tribute at Rotherham's ground reflects the confusion and anger felt over Terry Cole's death. The 41-year-old father of two was trampled to death by the horse of a mounted South Yorkshire police officer as he moved forward between rival fans throwing missiles.
That gentleman that was killed was an innocent bystander. He did nothing to provoke it. He was walking to the game, and he's just turned around and he's no longer with us.
The fans' reaction was terrifying, to be honest, because everybody was running. It's not just grown-ups. I mean, kids and everything. They were screaming and running. It wasn't very nice scenes at all.
The police's tactics have brought criticism from all sides, particularly how they dealt with the crowd trouble. However, while the force have expressed their deepest condolences, they say Terry Cole's death was a tragic accident.
On all the information available to me at this time, this was a tragic accident. Obviously, we're very sensitive to the officer, as indeed we're sympathetic to the family. He's been involved in an incident where a person has died, and that's something that he will have to come to terms with. He knows full well that there'll be a very open and robust inquiry into all the circumstances that will focus on his decisions, his actions.
There were 19 arrests at the match, and the pitch was invaded twice. The Rotherham MP, Dennis McShane, has called for games where there is likely to be tension to be played at neutral venues.
These tense matches, where trouble is expected, can frankly be moved away to a neutral venue, because no amount of passion about football justifies the loss of a single human life.
Internet sites run by fans of both sides have been buzzing today with speculation about what caused the violence and the events that led up to Mr. Cole's death. It seems the key lies with the video evidence, and that's now in the hands of the independent investigators from the Police Complaints Authority. However, what is clear is a game which should have been remembered as a celebration for both clubs will now be remembered for only one thing. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North, Rotherham.
22 sick people spent the night on trolleys at one of the region's most
A classic at Millmoor, and keep your eye on the strong arm of Walsall's Tom Bennett, who literally handed Rotherham the chance to take the lead just before half-time. The penalty award wasn't controversial. What happened next certainly was. Mark Robbins, who was released by Walsall over the summer, missed right in front of the
newcomers Rotherham United.
Rotherham went behind to a goal of international quality, scored by Baichung Bhutia, the captain of India's international team. But the Millers hit back in rather more mundane fashion. Rob Scott's far post header just sneaking past Bury's Halifax-born keeper Paddy Kenny. It wasn't enough. Midway through the second half, Sam Collins' long throw eluded a static defence. Adrian Littlejohn pounced. Rotherham 1, Bury 2. Chesterfield is surely destined.
They were about to discover that what goes around comes around. Yet another debut goal, this time Marvin Bryant, spectacularly putting through his own net. Good way to endear yourself to your new employers. And when it became double debut Angel Delight, the comeback was complete. Rotherham lost 4 of their first 5 last season and proved you can still go up, but they don't want to test the theory again. Rotherham 2, Walsall 3.
Cambridge only avoided relegation by 2 places last time, and a home defeat.
2-goal lead in losing to Walsall last weekend. Well, last night the Millers gained their first win of the season with a 1-0 victory at Colchester. The first half winner came when Paul Warne's shot was diverted into the path of Mark Robbins, who nipped in for his 3rd goal in 2 games. Good finish. Rotherham had 2 excellent chances after the break to stretch their lead. Leo Fortune West's header couldn't beat the keeper, and another good save denied Robbins from just 8 yards out. Now for the 3rd Division, where Scunthorpe United were looking to build on their first day success with another win, this time at home to
Rotherham haven't beaten Luton at Millmoor since December '62, and the 38-year hoodoo continued, with Andrew Fotiadis, a product of Luton's youth team, giving the Hatters a 6th-minute lead. Mark Robbins, a summer addition to Ronnie Moore's Millers, has scored goals wherever he's gone. United, Norwich, last season Walsall, and now he's doing it for Rotherham, his 4th of the season. And Mr Robbins is certainly bobbing as the Millers grind out another point. Rotherham 1, Luton 1.
One of the bargains of the season could well... One of the most bizarre stats of the season is why prior to this match Reading had scored 19 goals at home, the highest in the division, but only 1 away from home. Martin Butler doubled that after just 6 minutes at Millmoor, his 7th of the campaign. But the Millers drew level thanks to a Mark Robbins penalty. On loan Alan Lee, the man having his shirt tugged. The referee quite clear in his explanation, and he was probably right. Robbins is doing his best to fill the gap left by Leo Fortune West, and he's doing it pretty well at the moment. That's 7 so far this season. But Reading started to put the goal-scoring record straight with 2 more in the second half. Comical defending letting Jamie Curtin, Brian Wilsterman and keeper Ian Gray getting it totally wrong. More poor defending let in Jim McIntyre for number 3. Rotherham 1, Reading 3.
It looked like a familiar story at the county ground as Swindon, still searching for their first home win of the season.
Against Oldham. Watching this one, Mike Sinclair.
Despite a pain-killing injection, a last-minute injury kept top scorer Mark Robbins out of the Rotherham starting lineup. But it was clear he wouldn't be missed too much when Paul Warne put the Millers ahead inside a minute. And they were soon 2 in front. Since being sent off against Wickham, young defender David Artell has become something of a goal poacher, and he returned from suspension to score his 2nd in as many games since he saw red. Rotherham created so many chances, Robbins must have wished he'd played through the pain. On-loan striker Alan Lee could have had a hat-trick. But 10 minutes from time, they did seal the victory. It was Stuart Talbot's first goal for Rotherham, and he'll be grateful to some shocking keeping by Oldham's Gary Kelly. So 3-0 to the Millers, leaving Ronnie Moore much happier than he was after last week's display against Reading.
The goals we conceded last week were terrible goals. I thought we tightened up an awful lot today, and really, you know, if we'd won a game 6 or 7, nobody could have complained today. I thought we were excellent.
Well, here are today's other results in the 2nd Division. Luton 0, Millwall 1, Peterborough 2, Port Vale 0.
The season. The assistant referee on the far side clearly raises his flag as Watson's kick is curled in. No celebrations as both sides seem confused, but referee Phil Jocelyn allowed the goal to stand. And try as they might, Sean O'Driscoll's side just couldn't grab an equaliser. Bournemouth 0, Rotherham 1.
The Pirates were left marooned by the Cobblers at the Memorial. A late 3-goal blast to leave them 6 points adrift at the foot of the table. Paul Warne, although no relation to Ozzie Shane, had the Oxford defence in a spin, but not the officials, who confirmed the ball had crossed the line. The U's, who have drafted in Joe Kinnear to help their plight, certainly made the Millers grind out a result, and it took a 35-yarder from Kevin Watson to give Rotherham some breathing space. Within 60 seconds, though, back came Oxford. Derek Lilly made keeper Gray look silly with a perfectly timed strike. A tense final few minutes at Millmoor were calmed as Warne grabbed his 2nd and extended Ronnie Moore's side's unbeaten run to 4 league games with this cool finish. Rotherham 3, Oxford 1.
A 5-goal thriller at the Victoria Ground with Mark McGee's luck. The division surprise package, Rotherham continue their fine run with their 5th win in 6 games, and they had to play 78 minutes with 10 men. Guy Branston received 2 early yellow cards, first a needless handball, and the second a tug on Marco Gabbiadini's shirt. And needless to say, Mr Branston was none too happy with referee Mark Cooper. The only goal of the game came on the half hour, An attempted clearance fell to Stuart Talbot on the edge of the area. His finish ended the Cobblers' 5-match unbeaten run. Northampton 0, Rotherham 1.
3 first-half goals in just 20 minutes.
United, who yesterday took their impressive away record, the best in the division, to Northampton. Watching this one, Mike Sinclair.
Rotherham were forced to do it the hard way yesterday when Guy Branston tangled with Marco Gabbiadini after just 12 minutes. Referee Mark Cooper deemed it a second bookable offence, and despite his protest, the charismatic defender had to walk. The Millers might have a great away record, but Northampton hadn't failed to score at home in the league this year. That run ended yesterday, James Hunt with one of their better efforts. The 10 men of Rotherham won it with a goal on the half hour. Marvin Bryan forced the Northampton keeper out of position, and the ball sat up for Stuart Talbot to fire home. So it finished 1-0 to the Millers, and that's a win which keeps them 4th in Division 2. But there's a big test next week when they play 3rd place Wigan in what promises to be a cracker at Mill Moor.
Incidentally, Ronnie Moore regarded that win at Northampton the best since he returned to Rotherham more than 2 years ago. Now Division 3, starting at Saltergate, Chester.
9 points out of 9 travelled to Rotherham, with a draw and 5 wins from 6. The outcome, perhaps unsurprisingly, was a draw. Gareth Griffiths put Wigan in front, but Mark Robins' 9th goal since joining from Walsall evened it up. Protests following that goal led to the Latics lacking a keeper after Roy Carroll was sent off. Rotherham 1, Wigan 1.
With 6 league wins in 8, Millwall are proving...
Say that this is the kiss of death for a manager. Nationwide Manager of the Month for Division 2, Rotherham's Ronnie Moore. Ronnie, congratulations on that.
Cheers, John.
It's not the kiss of death anymore, is it?
No, it's all changed now. I mean, a long time ago it used to be, but just recently the manager who've won it have actually gone on and won the game, so hopefully that will be the case of today.
I think even you are a bit surprised by the form of your team, aren't you?
I think so. I think, everybody at the club's been surprised. I mean, it's been tremendous, a great effort from everybody. New month starting now. It'll be nice to have another one of these at the end of it.
And a massive match today.
Don't come any bigger. I mean, one of the top sides. These are going to be in the top 3. They've got a bit of quality up front, lots of pace, so it's going to be a tough game for us.
Big game at Mill Moor. Rotherham United against Wigan Athletic.
Also coming up, Bassett Roos late change in goal when Ian Gray's wife went into labour, so Paul Pettinger came in for his first game for 2.5 years. Wigan, who've lost just once all season, included 3 former Barnsley men in their squad. Ariane Dezeau and Andy Liddell in the starting lineup, and Darren Sheridan was on the bench. Well, before the kick-off, Ronnie Moore showed off his Manager of the Month award to the 6,000 at Millmoor. Well, that's still below what they figure they need to break even, and just underlines what a good job he's doing there. But now it's time to settle back and enjoy the action. It's Rotherham in the red and white shirts, Wigan Athletic are in the blue. Let's rejoin John in the commentary box.
Well, Rotherham have won their last 3 home games. Wigan are unbeaten in their last 11 league matches, so is something going to give today? Perfectly poised this match. And Rotherham really surpassing Ronnie Moore's expectations from the start of the season. Remember, they were promoted last season from Division 3. Nervous clearance to start with from Roy Carroll, the Northern Ireland international goalkeeper of Wigan. He's found a way out to Paul Warne, who will make inroads here for Rotherham, looking to get the first goal of the day. And Lee went down in a heap there. Referee Trevor Parks from Birmingham shook his head and said nothing. Alan Lee, the on-loan striker from Burnley, went down in the penalty area there under the challenge of the defender. And Ronnie Moore certainly thought that Rotherham might have had a spot kick. Goalkeeper Carroll's kick has carried the ball halfway inside the opposition half, but it's going to come back towards him now because it's a Rotherham free kick. Taken by Will Varty, who's been brought back into the side as sweeper today. Rob Scott out through suspension. Most of the early pressure coming from the home side, and here is Lee. Into the area he goes. Alan Lee, can he finish? Fine save by Carroll. Alan Lee's he's been a little short on goals since his move here from Burnley. His only one came in the last home match against Swansea, but he really hit that well. Created the position for himself, and that's why Ronnie Moore's trying to make him a permanent signing here. But Roy Carroll, the former Hull City goalkeeper, has reacted well with the save. Watson whips it across in. Might yet come to Garner. Well, the Wigan bench. Their manager, of course, is Bruce Rioch. And there is the former Arsenal and Bolton Wanderers manager. And Norwich City, of course. Sharp and Little combining down the left. It's found a way into McLaughlin, who's wriggled through one challenge and through two. Good play from the Scot. What a chance here! Kilford hit the post. He can't believe it. He's still shaking his head in disbelief. Well, a lovely move by Wigan Athletic. It was little Brian McLaughlin who created the opportunity with a darting run. He got in and out of Rotherham's defenders, pulled it back, and number 18, Ian Kilford, hit the low raking shot which thudded away off the inside of the Rotherham upright. Here come Rotherham in full force. It's won, and Carroll makes an outstanding save. Well, the game really has come to life. Good piece of play from Paul Warne there, who attempted to lob Roy Carroll, and the goalkeeper at full stretch kept it out. It's found Little, and Little's found Kilford. Kilford, who's come closest to a goal in this match. Tries to lead Ashcroft, and this Little shot. Well, Andy Little has scored some spectacular goals this season for Wigan. He's got 6 in all, but most of them have been pretty long-range efforts, 20-25 yarders. This was no exception, just outside the penalty area. And surely we're going to reach the break at 0-0, or are we? Lee, he's dragged down, is it? Rotherham have chances here. Needs a good shot, and it doesn't get one from Stuart Talbot. The referee played a good advantage, long enough for Stuart Talbot to get in a shot, but it was a bit of a toe poke. No goals as yet. Second half then at Millmoor. Wigan beginning it with a change made by Bruce Rioch. He's taken off the former Grimsby Town player Lee Ashcroft, who's been quite ineffective, to be honest, in the first half. He's just coming back after a lengthy absence, and he's brought on the former Charlton Athletic player Kevin Nichols. And Rotherham start with a free kick. Let's see if they can profit from it. The usual 5 in red there, covered by the 5 in blue. It's a question of where it falls from the boot of Watson. It's a Branston header! Well, we saw on a couple of occasions last year just how powerful Guy Branston can be in the opposition penalty box. And he gets up well, right up above the defence, puts the header over. Well, somebody's got to have a break in this game if we're going to get a goal. At the moment, the defences are on top, but here might be an opportunity. Little, McLaughlin up there with him too. Little made it a bit obvious his intentions, and the clearance from Hurst effective. Sharp with another ball in. There's confusion here between goalkeeper and defenders. Andy Little hits the bar. Well, that was one of those horrible moments for managers and coaches where you could see what was going to happen and couldn't do anything about it. The ball coming in, Pettinger racing from his goal, the defender, maybe there wasn't a call, they collided with one another. Little had the chance, who knows, maybe to even win the match. And the shot flicks off the top of the Rotherham bar. Hurst. Up it goes here. Nice little layoff for Robbins. The cross is for Lee! The header soars over the top of the Wigan bar. Wigan were prized open there, and Alan Lee might have done better. It's probably the best chance he's had. Lovely flowing football from Rotherham, though, who are suddenly finding their game more incisive. And the ball in was a good one, and Alan Lee met it with a full header, but put it too high. Worth the chase from Roberts, who hooks it in, and they have their goal. Gareth Griffiths, the tall centre-back, was in unstoppable territory. And he's got his first goal of the season at an opportune time for Wigan Athletic. It almost looked as though it would be a lost cause, but when you've got a big centre-half in there, nothing is lost. It's Rotherham 0, Wigan 1. Forward goes Varty. Can Rotherham get an equaliser in the game now? They've enough bodies forward here. Free kick. Robbins taken down. And what's going on? The free kick taken. Chance for Garner! And held by Carroll. But surely the free kick's got to be taken again. I think the referee's going to take a name as well. They tried to take the free kick when the wall was about 5 yards away. Artell was the one involved. Now he's marching them into the penalty area. Let's have it from there, he says. Now they've got to go back 10. Can Rotherham take advantage from this situation? All Rotherham fans hoping there's a goal here for Watson, and it's still in the air, and it's nodded through, and it's in! And Rotherham's Mark Robbins has equalised, and they deserve their goal. It seemed when the ball thumped into the Wigan wall as though Rotherham would be denied, but it looped beneath the crossbar. Carroll couldn't do too much about it, and it's found its way through to Mark Robbins, and the former Manchester United striker has made it one apiece with his 9th goal. Roy Carroll off here for continued argument. I thought Deseu was about to be booked. He was protesting, but it's goalkeeper Roy Carroll who is dramatically dismissed here. Wigan do have a substitute goalkeeper in Derek Stilley today, so he will come on, and Wigan will take a player off. In fact, they've sacrificed Neil Roberts, their striker, in order to get a goalkeeper on. This surely has to be the last opportunity, the last chance saloon for Rotherham. Hurst needs to get the ball up around the edge of the area. Warren will do that in company with Talbot. Maybe they're taking too long about it. Hurst through the legs of the defender, but that's it. An excellent second division football match. It had plenty of excitement. A couple of goals, one for Griffiths of Wigan, one for Robbins of Rotherham United. Wigan's goalkeeper Carroll sent on. But it's ended pretty fair and square at one apiece.
You must be delighted with the way the season's gone so far.
I couldn't have asked for any more. No, and as I said before, with the manager of the month, you know, at least we never lost. You know, we picked up a point, but the season's been magnificent. If someone had said to me, we'll be in a position that we're in now, you know, I wouldn't have believed them. But we set 50 points as a target. We need 19 more points now to get to there. Then once we get there, who knows? I mean, anything can happen in football.
You moved here from Walsall. They were up there just ahead of you in the table. You know, how much are you enjoying it here now?
It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Spoke to John Brecken in the summer and the manager, and it just felt right. You get a gut feeling, and my gut feeling was right to come here.
Third and fourth respectively, but Walsall beat Reading in the battle of the top two, chasing pack. I think actually that caption was not exactly correct.
Alan Lee's effort winning the match for Rotherham. Wrexham 0, Rotherham 1.
With only 3 places separating these sides in.
On the face of it, a trip to traditional giant killers Wrexham was daunting for Rotherham, and they were under pressure when Caribbean striker Hector Sam went down under challenge from Stuart Talbot. The referee Ellery was more intent on a chat with Guy Branston. He had another one later and sent him off. That was after Rotherham's clincher. Paul Warne's pass found Darren Garner, who hit the ball into the ground. It bounced perfectly for Alan Lee, who's found his scoring form since moving from Burnley on a permanent basis. Indeed, the man once signed by Ron Atkinson for Aston Villa would have had a double to celebrate, but his clever footwork went unrewarded. Still, Rotherham achieved yet another victory on a day when they'd have probably settled for a draw.
Rotherham were the only side in Division 2 who'd struck the net in every league game this season, so Peterborough's defenders weren't expecting a quiet afternoon at Millmoor. Guy Branston sent off in 2 of his 3 previous matches, hitting the headlines for the right reasons. And Paul Warne, whose cross had spread panic for the first, delivered another one for Paul Hurst to neatly side-foot his first goal since these two sides met in Division 3 last season. It was effectively over as a contest, although after Mark Robbins had rattled the bar and Kevin Watson had followed up to drill the rebound into Mark Tyler's midriff, Peterborough thought they were back in the match. Richard Forsyth's close-range volley in a crowded box ruled out for offside. It must have been a mighty close call. But Rotherham put all doubts to rest 3 minutes from time. Mark Robbins moves into double figures. Rotherham move into overdrive. Rotherham 3, Peterborough 0.
Stoke hadn't managed a goal for
United as the second division's surprise package. Well, it's got to the point now where it'd be a surprise if they didn't win. So, no surprises at Millmoor yesterday. Here's Michael Sinclair.
Sent off last week, Rotherham's Guy Branston was keen to make amends against Peterborough. He went close early on, and there was no danger of him neglecting his defensive duties. But the centre-half got forward again to open the scoring. David Artell helped it on. Branston fired home. The Millers doubled their lead seconds after the restart. Paul Warne's cross, Paul Hurst's classy finish. Posh had their fair share of chances. Former Chesterfield striker Jason Lee saw an effort cleared off the line by that man Branston. But Rotherham sealed the win inside the last 5 minutes. Some lovely one-touch football. Wonderful control by top scorer Mark Robbins and an impudent finish for his 10th of the season. So a 3-0 win for the Millers, but the manager not totally happy.
We haven't played well today, you know, but we've battled out and ground out a great result. I mean, they're a good side going forward, and, you know, although it was 3-0, we had 1 or 2 scary moments, and I just wish we could have played that a little bit better, but I can't grumble, it's 3 more points.
And those are 3 points which keep Rotherham 4th, 5 points clear of Reading, who were rained off at Bournemouth. Millmoor won 1-0 at Oldham and they go top. By the way, a real test of Rotherham's progress comes next week when they're at home to the new leaders. We're now the 3rd division where there were 2 regional derbies. 4th place before kick-off against leaders Millwall. How did it go? The answer from Jason McCann.
Excuse the cliché, but this really was a game of 2 halves. After a dull first period, David Artell's header 3 minutes after the break brought the curtain up on what was set to be a 5-goal thriller. Stephen Reed's long-range shooting then swung the game Millwall's way. The teenager blasted in a free kick for the equaliser. And minutes later, he steadied himself to fire home from a little closer in, but with no less precision to give the Lions the lead. Ronnie Moore hasn't been able to splash the cash, but he does appear to have a bargain in Alan Lee. The £150,000 signing from Burnley pounced at the far post to make it 2-2, to the delight of the majority of Millmoor's biggest crowd of the season so far. And with the result in the balance, the lurking Lee drove in the winner as Rotherham extended their magnificent unbeaten run to 11. But will they be able to keep it going?
They're a big, strong side. I mean, you know, they're not going to be far away, and we've matched them today. And I keep saying it, and I'll always say it, that I honestly do believe that my best 11 players will give anybody a game in this division.
It was a fantastic atmosphere. It was like the last game of last season when we played Swansea. But today the performance was a lot better than that day. And as I said, if we take it on from there, we won't be far away at the end of the year.
So Rotherham leapfrog Millwall and move up to 2nd, a point behind Walsall, who beat Port Vale 2-1 at the Bestcott Stadium. Now I know Ronnie Moore's always stressed that the first target is to get enough points to avoid relegation, but surely now the playoffs at the very least are in sight. So on to Division 3, and John starts the roundup at Saltergate.
After a goalless first half with little to cheer, Michael Owen decided to throw his weight around literally, and the England striker proved his crossing is just as good as Emil Heskey's finishing. That was goal number 14 of the season. The Premiership side then lost the services of Igor Bischan, sent off for 2 yellow cards, but the red machine was now starting to purr. Danny Murphy teased and tormented Rotherham and then tempted fate before finally teeing up Dietmar Hamann, and suddenly the Kop could look forward to round 4. The second division side had certainly given a good account of themselves, but tired legs and a heavy heart allowed Heskey to score his second and Liverpool's third. I think that's what they call turning the tables.
Barry Fry's versus Manchester United. And his former side started their latest campaign against second division Rotherham United at Anfield. Jari Litmanen watched from the director's box as Gerrard once again shuffled his pack. Michael Owen came in for Robbie Fowler. Danny Murphy took over from Nicky Barmby. Dietmar Hamann replaced Steven Gerrard, while Igor Bischan, we call him Bischan, played at right back instead of Marcus Babbel. Quite a few changes there. Rotherham, backed by over 7,000 fans, included striker Mark Robbins, looking for his first ever goal against Liverpool. Nick London saw this one.
Vladimir Smica for Liverpool. Oh, that's a nice ball for Michael Owen. He's round Ian Gray, and Rob Scott keeps it out. Great defending. Heskey, good turn. Not afraid to run at the Rotherham defence. Murphy with the curler. He's getting a start today in place of Nicky Barmby, who's on the bench. That one will reach Smica. Smica, cross the face. Well, Liverpool doing plenty of attacking, but they haven't found a way through yet. Alan Lee trying to bring some relief to Rotherham. Well, that's going to be surely a booking for Igor Bischan. Clear shirt pulling there. He's not going to get away with that. There's the yellow card from referee Mark Halsey. Kevin Watson takes the free kick. Scott's there with the header. No wonder he holds his head. That was very close to Rotherham taking the lead. Heskey flicks it wide to Smica, and a good tackle there from Darren Garner. And there's a little bit of afters. Smica's gone down very easily. Paul Warne's getting involved as well. Watson's trying to keep them apart, and referee Mark Halsey is struggling here to keep control. It all came following that tackle by Garner on Smica. Well, the upshot is I think this is going to be a booking for Paul Warne. Gerard Houllier looks on. Ronnie Moore, a Rotherham legend, gained promotion now as a manager and as a player for Rotherham. It's difficult to knock him off his feet in his playing days, that's for sure. Here's Michael Owen. Heskey's in the middle. It's a brave header. Oh, Ian Gray almost kept it out. But Heskey will claim the goal. Puts his head there, right in amongst the boots of David Artell, and gets his reward. There's Watson to Paul Hurst. That's another foul by Igor Bischan, and I think he knows what's coming. He's already been booked. It's a second yellow. Just his 7th game since signing from Dinamo Zagreb, and he's marked it with a red card. Liverpool are going to have to play the last 27 minutes with just 10 men. Artell rises. Oh, that's a good save from Westerveld. As Rotherham try and take advantage of their numerical superiority. That's not a bad ball to Murphy. Still Murphy. 2 defenders with him as he lost it. No, he manages to get it back to Hamann. Oh, Dietmar Hamann has made it 2-0. They might be a man short, but they've doubled their lead. And it was all made for Hamann by Murphy. Looked to have lost it, but he still found Hamann, and Hamann's third goal of the season makes it 2-0. Murphy to Heskey, and they're backing off Heskey. You can't back off him when he's in this sort of form. 15th of the season. And Liverpool are heading for round 4.
The first half, we rode down looking a little bit, and especially for, I think it was 4 or 5 minutes when Owens had a right chance and Scotty's got back and cleared it. And then I thought really we limited him to a lot of long-range shots without really creating much ourselves. And then 1 minute, whatever, 1 minute 40 or what into the second half, you can't give him a goal. I mean, you can't give anybody a goal like that one. I mean, 1 minute Trigger's got it, and I've turned away, and it's in the back of the net.
We have to acknowledge that it's a very good side, very strong, physical, well organised, and Ronnie Moore